fall now, September's almost over, and I thought you guys would like a little update on the green giant arborvitaes. Late winter, early spring, we took some cuttings and we put them on bottom heat and we got them to root, and we've gone all the way through the summer now, and I want to show you what they look like. If you guys haven't seen that video where we did those cuttings, go click on the link up in the corner and you go watch that now and then come back to this one. But let's go check out how these guys look now. Alright, so here they are, all resting peacefully all summer long, just growing and doing their little thing, rooting in the box. And you can see here, we've got a bunch of roots kind of coming through. I don't know if you can see that. There they are. There's the little roots. They're all coming out and they're starting to harden off. It's getting cooler outside and these guys are going to be going into dormancy soon. But you can see all this beautiful green growth on them all summer long. They've been putting on roots and putting on top growth. There's Johnny for you. They've been putting on all this top growth and they look absolutely beautiful. Now, real quick, before we look at those roots, look at these guys. And I showed you all of these green giants in that last video. These were actually cuttings I did the year before, and we potted these up into a 1-gallon pot, and they are just doing really well. They finally, you know, in the beginning they kind of grow funky like this. They just put on some new green growth onto the ends where I clipped them off. They just find a point and start putting on some growth. But after they get established in a pot, you know, after a year, and they start getting some real good established roots, they just find a central leader and just start taking off like this guy. You can see right here, actually, let's bring them up to our table here. You can see it started out in the pot, and I took the cutting there, or it started out with this cutting here. I clipped all this extra growth off right around the edges here, and then it found a point where it wanted to grow up, and then once I got it in this pot and a whole nother year went by, it found this central leader that it was going to start sending up. After a few years it'll just look like one tall, nice, beautiful plant going straight up there. So let's put this guy back. Aren't those beautiful though? Look at all that growth in this hoop house, which is 50% shade on the fabric here, or the plastic there. They just grow really well, and I keep them watered all summer long, and as long as you keep the water to these guys, they just take off. But let's get this guy up on the table here and show you what they look like. Alright, so now that we've got this guy up on the table here, we can take a look here and see how these roots look. You can see all along the side, like I showed you, those roots are just growing like crazy. You can see the little white ends of new little roots coming through. They're going to be starting to harden off soon though, but if we look down here, we've got even more roots growing along the bottom of this tote. And if you remember that last video, once we get these guys out of here in the late winter this year, they will be full of roots, all a tangled mass that we'll have to pull apart here to just get them all potted up. But let's see, I hate disturbing these guys, but here's a little guy. We might as well just I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to. These guys are all intertwined, and I'm just going to bust them all apart if I do. So let's not, you can see they got roots. let's not push our luck, guys, but these roots are growing. You can see, look at all those roots down in there. I'm kind of breaking some apart right now, but these plants are rooted in really, really well, and they're going to do great. So as long as I'm showing you guys updates of the green giants, would you like to go see how the ones look out in my landscape? The ones that have been growing out there for a couple of years now? Let's go take a look. And there they are, guys. So these have been here in the ground for, this is the second year now, and they really didn't do a whole lot the first year, but the second year, this summer, they really started taking off. And although they're not putting on 3 foot a year yet like the advertisements show, I believe they really will once things start taking off, and once they really get good and established. I think they just need to get established first, but usually the third year they start taking off, just about any plant. But look at all the growth these guys have put on. Now you can see down below them, they're actually taller than they look because all these thorny vines we get. This is something, it's some sort of berry that grows in our area. I'm not sure what it is, but they are everywhere and they're hard to get under control. I've had to spray these, but they were starting to want to strangle and grow up into all these plants. But I sprayed them. I think I've got things under control now, and I'm going to keep more on top of that. But you can see how tall these trees are getting. Let's go ahead and measure them and show you. All right, so here's a good tall one. Let's take the tape measure and see where this is at. I'm going to go down at the ground here. and we are at 46 inches right there, guys. 46 inches, it's almost 4 feet tall. And if you remember in that video, I bought these guys as little tiny, just barely rooted cuttings in little 2-inch pots, and they've turned into this. I think I bought them 3 years ago. Little tiny guys, and they're already almost 4 foot tall. Now you notice they're a little sparse. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of branching yet, but as they put on size and get bigger and bigger and nicer, they will start really filling out and blocking this road here and just creating a nice serene environment for our landscape inside. So you guys can see they do grow pretty quickly. Now, of course, these guys are not huge yet, but we bought them in little tiny 2-inch pots and they were 6 inches tall. But just in 3 years, they've come this far. So I hope that helps you guys who want to plant these type of trees out on your property, kind of get an idea of what they're going to do in the amount of time they're going to do it in. And so I really think they're going to take off next year. I really believe that. One of the things I'm learning with these guys, and I'm glad I put that thick layer of wood chips down out there, one of the things I'm learning is they take a ton of water. Now, I didn't really water those through the hottest, driest part of summer because I've got all the wood chips down and the soil stayed somewhat moist down there. But if I would have really pumped the water to them, I'll bet they would have put even more size on than that. And I've proven that just by showing you what's going on in the hoop house here. These little tiny guys in the 1-gallon pots, when I water them all summer long with the rest of my plants in here, they just shoot up and put on tons of green growth for their size. And so I think next year I might try to set up some type of an irrigation system out there. It's kind of way out by the front of my property, so I don't have a lot of water out there, but I might try to set something up so I can see how much growth they'll really put on when you put a ton of water to them. Anyway, hope that helps you guys. If you liked the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to follow along to see more updates on all these topics that we do here. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.